let's have an example in declaring the puts, the gets input, okay, and then the cin and the cin that get line. Let's check the differences between the two. So if we're going to have a declaration for string, so I'm going to make use of char. Since we're talking about a character string value or a C string value, it's still char data type. And then I'm going to make use of str1 and make sure that you have the size. So you may still use the name constant before the declaration. So for example, I have const int, then size equals 20. And then I'm going to make use of the size. That's still valid, okay? Or you may use directly the 20 within the declaration of the str1 or string, okay? And then, let's say, for example, I'm going to ask and prompt the user to input the value. So I may use the puts, okay? And then I'm going to make use of enter a string value. So that's actually the syntax of the puts, okay? So put still running on the IO stream, okay? If it's not working, then we will use the stdio later on that H, okay? Then to accept the value, let's use first the gets. Then gets, and then we are going to make use of str1 and then semicolon. Then in this case, let's just use the cout. String value is, and then I'm going to make use of str1 and then NL semicolon. So let's run the code. So enter string value. So that's the difference if we use the puts and the gets. The input is actually at below the enter string value, not within the line of the enter a string value. If you're going to make use of the puts and the gets. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use Glorin, and then I'm going to make a space since space is considered as a part of the string, and then I'm going to make use of Fuentes. So once I press the enter key, the value should have Gloren space Fuentes. Okay, so that's for the string. Now, instead of puts, I'm going to make use of cout, still the same. And then, let's use cin. Let's try for cin. So what will happen if I'm going to use cin str1? Okay, let's run the code. So I'm going to put Gloren space Fuentes. Okay, take note that the output on this value is just only Gloren without the space and Fuentes. Why? Remember that cin can only handle a single value. So for cin, this is already two values. Okay, why two values? Because when when compilers see a space, it means that this is the next value for cin. So once you press the enter key, the only output is Gloren. Now, if we're going to try to use the cin.getLine, okay, and then parentheses, there are two parameters within the parentheses. The first one is the variable name, which is str1, and the second one is the size, okay, or 20, okay. So if we're going to do that, let's see. Let's try again to run and execute the code. So I'm going to type Gloren space Fuentes, press enter key, so it will accept both values, Gloren, and then the space, and then Fuentes. So these are examples of a character string functions. Number one is strcpy. So when you want to copy a string value to another variable, we do not use aggregate operation. So we use a string function. So strcpy is a function that used to copy the content of a string into another string variable. So let's have an example of that. Okay, so let's say, for example, I have char str1 and then the size, and then I have str2. Then I'm going to make use also of the size. Okay, then we're going to ask the user to enter the value for str1, and then we need to copy the value of str1 to str2. Remember, as mentioned a while ago, there's no aggregate operation. What is an aggregate operation? Like x is equals to y. Okay, that's an aggregate operation. If, for example, we declare the value of x and y as integral value and we want to copy the value of y to x, we can actually perform aggregate operation. But for character string, if we want to copy the value of str1 to str2, we do not perform this type of operation or the aggregate operation, which is str2 is equals to str1. We need to perform a function for that, and that is string copy or strcpy. So what are we going to do is, I'm going to put strcpy parentheses. There are two parameters within the parentheses of strcpy. On the first parameter should be uh, the, 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 the destination. Okay, so what's the destination? The destination is str2. Then we're going to copy the content of str1 to str2. The right side or the second parameter should be the source, which is str1. Okay, so if we're going to string value in str1 is and L, and then let's have string value in str2 is, and then I'm going to make use of str2. So let's run the code. Sorry, semicolon. Let's run the code. So, for example, again, Gloren space Fuentes. And I want to copy Gloren space Fuentes to str2 since this value will be assigned to str1 variable. So, string value in str1 is Gloren Fuentes and string value in str2 is Gloren Fuentes. So, that is strcpy. Next function is strcat or string concatenation. So from the word concatenate, we can actually concatenate or combine two strings together using this syntax. So the syntax should be strcat, then parentheses. There are two, again, parameters within the strcat, the source and the destination. So this is the destination and this is the source. So let's say, for example, I already declare a value. I'm not going to put and prompt the user to input the value for str1. Instead, I'm going to assign already the value for str1 and str2. So I'm going to declare str1, for example, with double quotation mark, hello, and then a space. Okay, and then about here is equals, and then we have there. So I want to concatenate or combine the two strings together. So instead of using strcpy, I'm going to use strcat. But take note what will happen, okay? So str2 is here, so this is there, and then str1 is hello. So the output is there, hello. So we should change the position. So this is 1 and this becomes 2. But what will happen if we're going to display str1 already? Since this is the destination, this is what will happen. If the value of str1 is hello, space, and then we want to combine str2 to str1, str1 will add another word which is there. So the value of str1 now becomes hello space there instead of hello. So the final output here of str1 is hello space there because of the concatenation. Okay, so that's the first option. Then we can also assign another variable for the character string to make that variable as the combination of str1 and str2. So let me just declare again another declaration, str3, and then let's make it again size and then semicolon. Okay, so this is what will happen first. If we do not use the str3 and we want to make use of str1 and str2 and then combine the words together, then the destination should be str1 since str1 contains the value of hello space. To put and combine there should str2 should be the source. Okay, so this is the destination and this is the source. So let's run the code. Okay, so if you're going to take a look at str1, str1 is not anymore hello space, but it's already hello space there. But still the value of str2 is there because we do not change the value of str2. We change the value of str1 because we use the strcap. So, but how about if we want to make use of str3? So, since str3 doesn't have any value or it's a null value, so before we concatenate the value, we need to put first hello in str3. Okay, so we can actually use the concatenation, or we can actually copy the value of str1 to str3. So I'm going to make use of strcpy, copying the value, okay, from str3, okay, to str3 from str1. Okay, so what will happen is, I'm going to display here str3. You will see that the value of str3 now is the same as the value of str1. Then, in this case, I'm going to concatenate the value of str3 to str2, since the value of str3 is the same as str1, and we want the concatenation will process within str3. So we use and add a variable str3, a character string value, and concatenate the value of str2. So in this case, I'm going to add another here. So string value in str3 is str3 and L. So the answer here is str1 still hello space, str2 still there, but str3, since we processed the copying of the value of str1 to str3, then right after that is concatenating now the value of str2 to str3. Now the value of str3 is both the value of str1 and str2, which is hello space there. So let's run the code. So again, the value is hello for str1, value of str2 is there, and the value of str3 is hello space there.